There are moments in life when time itself seems to pause, when the invisible hand of God moves quietly, deliberately, and with purpose beyond human understanding. This is one of those moments. This is not random. This is not coincidence. This is divine timing. For someone listening right now, those 2 hours were not a delay. They were protection. While you were unaware, while you were going about your life. Heaven was watching. Heaven was calculating. Heaven was allowing something to unfold, not to harm you, but to expose what was hidden against you. There are moments in life when time itself seems to pause. Moments when the world continues its rhythm, and yet, somewhere beyond what the human eye can see, destiny bends. There are events orchestrated with such precision that only the divine could have designed them. And this is one of those moments. Not everyone will understand it. Not everyone will notice it. But for those who are chosen, for those whose spirit is attuned to the whispers of God, it becomes unmistakable. God waited 2 hours to warn you, and the investigator was caught. Say those words again, not aloud, but in the depths of your soul. Let them sink into your consciousness. Let them shake the foundations of doubt, fear, and hesitation. 2 hours, that is all it took. 2 hours that were not wasted, not arbitrary, not meaningless. 2 hours that separated safety from destruction, truth from deception, life from potential loss. Those 2 hours were divinely placed, not by accident, but with purpose. Many of us believe we are alone in this world. Many of us think that when danger approaches, it is invisible, unstoppable, and inevitable. But there is a truth that many fail to see. Nothing escapes God's attention. Nothing slips past His awareness. No plan, no scheme, no whisper of deceit can operate outside the perimeter of His eyes. The investigator, yes, the one who thought they were clever, the one who plotted in silence, was caught. Not because of human strategy, not because of chance, but because the one who watches over you was working in the shadows, unseen, unheard, but never absent. Consider the investigator. Someone was plotting against you. Someone thought they could manipulate circumstances. Someone thought they could control outcomes. They studied, they analyzed, they timed their actions, and they believed they had the advantage. But they did not account for God's timing. They did not know that 2 hours was all that separated them from exposure. 2 hours is all that it took for divine intervention to occur. In those 2 hours, plans unraveled, truth was revealed, and deception became visible. The hunter became the hunted, the observer became the observed, the plotter became the victim. Why 2 hours? Why not sooner? Why not later? That is the question of the unwise. God's timing is perfect, not immediate. His timing is precise, not rushed. He gives warnings, He allows events to unfold, not to punish you, but to prepare you. Those 2 hours were not wasted. They were sacred. They were your protection. They were the buffer between calamity and security. They were a chance for the divine to expose the darkness before it could strike, to reveal the hidden truth, to set the stage for justice, and justice is what was served. The investigator, who thought themselves untouchable, was caught, not by human hands alone, but by a higher power. There is a law in the universe that no evil done in secret goes unnoticed, no scheme devised in darkness remains concealed. Every act has consequences, every plan has exposure, and when God is involved, those consequences are swift, precise, and undeniable. The investigator thought themselves intelligent, strategic, careful, but they did not understand one simple fact. God watches over the chosen. God protects those who walk in His purpose. God's eyes are on you, even when you cannot see Him, even when you do not feel Him. Let this speak to your heart, the people who plot against you, who wish you harm, who seek to disrupt your destiny. Do not fear them. Their plans may seem powerful. Their strategies may seem sophisticated. Their presence may seem overwhelming. But remember this: the one who is on your side is mightier than all opposition combined. The one who walks with you has measured every hour, every minute, every second of your life. And in his perfect timing, what is meant for evil will be turned to good. What is hidden will be revealed. What is hidden will be revealed. What is meant to harm you will fall upon those who plotted it. Think about your life for a moment. How many times have you sensed danger, yet it never touched you? How many times did you feel an invisible shield, a divine pause, a moment where something should have happened but did not? Those were your 2 hours. Those were your moments of protection. Those were the intervals in which God intervened, subtly, quietly, powerfully. The investigator in this story was not the first to be caught, and they will not be the last, because God's eyes never waver, his attention never falters, and his justice is not delayed beyond the time it is needed. Now I want you to understand the gravity of being chosen. To be chosen is not just a title, it is a responsibility. To be chosen is not just to receive blessings, it is to attract challenges, opposition, scrutiny, and tests. The investigator who was caught was drawn into your orbit because of your destiny. They were drawn to measure you, to challenge you, to question your path. But God, in his infinite wisdom, set the parameters. He allowed their approach not to punish you, but to reveal them. He allowed their plotting not to harm you, but to expose truth. And in the unfolding of those 2 hours, the universe aligned in your favor. Do you see now why timing is everything? Do you see now why patience, faith, and trust are not just virtues? They are lifelines. If you rush, you may stumble. If you doubt, you may falter. But if you wait, if you trust, if you stand firm, the divine will move on your behalf. In those 2 hours, the divine intervention was not just a warning, it was a lesson. It was a confirmation that your life is under protection, your path is guided, and your enemies will not prevail. Let us not underestimate the investigator. They represent every force that seeks to derail your destiny. They represent the subtle, cunning, and persistent attempts of life to intimidate, to manipulate, to obstruct. But here is the powerful truth. Those who are chosen are never left unprotected. Those who walk with purpose are never left vulnerable. Those whose destiny is aligned with God's plan are never abandoned. And the investigator caught in their own trap is proof of that eternal law. Consider what it means for the investigator to be caught. They were exposed, their plans were revealed, their strategies failed, and their outcome was precisely what God intended. Not by chance, not by human calculation, but by divine orchestration. What was meant to harm became a testimony. What was meant to arm became a testimony. What was meant to intimidate became evidence of God's protection. What was meant to observe became the observed. And in this reversal, you see a reflection of your own life. The obstacles, the threats, the people who question your path, all subject to divine correction. And now, let us reflect on the lesson. Life is full of investigators, people who seek to measure you, judge you, challenge you. Life is full of moments when you feel exposed, under scrutiny, vulnerable, but always remember this. 2 hours may be all it takes. 2 hours of patience, 2 hours of trust. 2 hours of silence may be the difference between victory and defeat, between safety and danger, between exposure and protection. Those 2 hours may contain miracles, revelations, and interventions beyond human comprehension. This story is not just about the court investigator. It is about you. It is about the chosen ones walking the earth today, navigating challenges unseen, facing threats, unrecognized, yet moving forward because the divine walks with them. It is about your faith being tested, your resilience being measured, and your destiny being protected. And it is about knowing, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that nothing, no matter how cunning or sophisticated, can surpass God's timing. Every time you feel fear, doubt, or uncertainty creeping into your mind, remember the 2 hours. Remember that God waits, not to abandon, but to act at the perfect moment. Remember that those who plot against you will be exposed. Remember that the chosen ones are shielded by forces beyond comprehension, by strategies beyond human vision, and by wisdom that exceeds human understanding. Let the words sink deeply. God waited 2 hours to warn you, and the investigator was caught. It is not just a statement. It is a prophecy. It is a message for the present. It is a lesson for the present. It is a lesson for your life. It is proof that faith, patience, and trust are not abstract virtues. They are survival tools, protective mechanisms, and pathways to triumph. And now, I challenge you to see your life through this lens. Identify the investigators in your life, the obstacles, the hidden challenges, the people who seek to undermine your path. Understand that they are subject to divine timing. Understand that their actions, no matter how secretive, are exposed in God's perfect moment. Understand that 2 hours, 2 days, or even 2 years may pass, but nothing escapes divine attention. And in the end, those who are meant to be caught will be caught. Those who are meant to fail will fail. And those who are chosen will rise, protected and victorious, because God's timing is absolute. You may ask, how do I recognize these 2-hour moments in my own life? How do I know when God is intervening? The truth is, you may not feel it immediately. The truth is, you may not understand it in real time. But the signs are there: an unexpected pause, an unexplainable delay, a sudden revelation, a moment when danger seems to divert, a moment when clarity comes at the exact right time. These are not coincidences. These are divine interventions. These are the 2-hour warnings, the precise moments when God steps in to guide, protect, and expose. So rise up with this knowledge. Walk boldly, knowing that your life is under divine surveillance. Walk courageously, knowing that every observer, every plotter, every investigator is already accounted for in the divine plan. Walk faithfully, knowing that patience is not passive, it is active trust. And walk victoriously, knowing that when God intervenes, even in 2 hours, lives are reversed. Justice is served, and destiny is protected. And as you go forth, from this moment, carry this truth with you. The investigator was caught. The plot was exposed. The timing was perfect. And your life, your path, your purpose, your destiny is under the careful, deliberate, and omnipotent watch of God Himself. 2 hours may seem brief, but in God's hands, 2 hours contain eternity. 2 hours may seem like a pause, but in God's timing, 2 hours contain revelation. 2 hours may seem insignificant, but for the chosen, 2 hours are protection, justice, and divine confirmation. So do not fear the observers. Do not fear the plotters. Do not fear the hidden threats. Fear only missing God's timing. Wait, watch, trust, and stand firm. And know this: the investigator was caught, and you, the chosen one, are under protection that cannot be broken, timing that cannot fail, and love that cannot fail, and love that cannot be surpassed. Your life is a testimony, your destiny is assured, your faith is rewarded, and the 2 hours that God waited, they were the most powerful, most protective, most divine interval of your life. The question now is simple. Will you recognize the warnings? Will you trust the timing? Will you stand firm as the divine unfolds before you? For in those 2 hours, miracles were hidden, protection was delivered, and the investigator, once cunning, was caught. This is your reminder, your revelation, your divine confirmation. You are chosen. You are protected. Your enemies are exposed, and God's timing is perfect. Take it to heart. Carry it with courage. Walk forward with confidence, and never forget. The investigator was caught, and you are not just a witness, you are the chosen one. Now let us go even deeper into the story, the truth that lies beneath the surface of what seems like ordinary life. The investigator, the one who thought they could control, measure, and manipulate, believed they were untouchable. They believed that secrecy and strata Tegi were enough to secure their advantage. But the universe, guided by divine hands, had a different plan. God allowed them to move, to take action, to reveal their intent. Not to harm you, but to expose them. Every whisper of malice, every silent observation, every calculated step against you was recorded in the ledger of destiny, and every step was counted. The 2 hours that God waited were not merely a buffer, they were a message. They were a signal to you that your life, your purpose, and your mission are under divine surveillance, They were proof that even when you feel powerless, you are never alone. That 2-hour window was more than time. It was a spiritual checkpoint, a divine alert, a reminder that God works behind the scenes, often invisibly, often quietly, yet always effectively. Think about the investigator in this moment. They were confident, they were planning, they were certain of their victory. They did not see the net being woven around them. They did not hear the footsteps of justice approaching. They did not feel the shift of divine energy turning their plan back upon them. This is the nature of God's protection. It is subtle, silent, and swift. The chosen ones rarely witness the mechanism of protection in real time. We see only the results, the exposure, the reversal, the triumph. And here is a truth that must be understood deeply. Life will always present challenges. People will always try to spy, manipulate, and sabotage. Darkness will always attempt to hide in shadows. But the divine always has eyes where human eyes cannot see. The divine always has timing where human timing cannot intervene. The divine always has strategies that are untraceable and unmalleable. The divine always has strategies that are untraceable and undeniable. Those 2 hours represent the perfect balance between divine protection and human free will. God did not interfere immediately, because interference without wisdom would be chaos. He did not delay endlessly, because delay would allow harm. He waited, he observed, he allowed events to unfold just long enough to reveal the truth, just long enough to ensure that the investigator would be caught in their own web. That is the brilliance of divine timing. That is the perfection of God's plan. And now, consider what it means for you. There is a principle here that applies to all chosen ones. When God places you on a path, He also places barriers, tests, and challenges, not to destroy you, but to prepare you. The investigator was one of many barriers that life placed before you. Their purpose was not to harm, but to awaken your awareness, to strengthen your faith, to remind you of your need for reliance upon the divine. Every moment of fear, every moment of uncertainty, every moment when you felt someone observing or judging you, those were your 2-hour moments. Those were the times when the divine worked invisibly to protect you, to intervene, to reverse what was intended for evil into a testimony for good. The investigator, caught and exposed, is a living proof that divine intervention works when faith, patience, and trust are exercised. Now let us talk about what happens after the investigator is caught. This is not the end of the story. It is the beginning of revelation. Every court plot, every exposed deception, every reversal of evil serves as a lesson. It teaches you that the universe has a moral architecture. It teaches you that actions have consequences, even when hidden from human sight. It teaches you that no one can manipulate a chosen one's destiny without accountability. The investigator's capture is also a mirror of what lies ahead in your life. Challenges may come, but so too will the exposure of hidden motives. Betrayals may occur, but justice will follow. Darkness may attempt to conceal its actions, but light will always reveal truth. Every struggle, every battle, every attempt to undermine your path is temporary. Every failure of the opponent is inevitable, because the chosen are shielded, guided, and sustained by a power that cannot be defeated. There is another layer here, spiritual awakening. These 2 hours, this divine timing, are meant to awaken you to realities beyond human perception. Life is not random. Events are not coincidental. Every person who appears as an obstacle may actually be a messenger, a test, or a vehicle for revelation. The investigator, though caught in wrongdoing, served a purpose. They revealed truth, they exposed deception, and they strengthened your understanding of divine justice. Take a moment to reflect on the patience it requires to witness divine timing. How often do we rush, panic, or act impulsively when we face hidden threats? How often do we try to control outcomes that are beyond our capacity? And yet in those moments God waits. He waits to reveal. He waits to intervene. He waits to turn the situation in your favor. Patience is not passivity. It is trust in God's strategy. It is trust in God's strategy. And trust in God's timing ensures that the investigator and all hidden plots are caught at the right moment. Faith is the next essential principle. To walk as the chosen is to walk with unshakable faith, even when circumstances seem threatening. The 2 hours were a test of faith. Would you continue your day, your life, your mission, believing in protection that could not yet be seen? Would you maintain calm when chaos was possible? Faith does not demand proof before action. It sustains you while proof is being prepared. The court investigator is a result of that faith, the tangible proof of divine orchestration, the reward for believing without seeing. And let us not forget courage. The chosen ones are often under threat, precisely because they are advancing in destiny. They are targets for jealousy, manipulation, and sabotage. Courage is required not only to face visible challenges, but to endure hidden threats. Courage is required to trust that even when the investigator is plotting, you are protected. Courage is required to walk forward knowing that timing is in the hands of a higher power. Now, imagine the investigator's reaction when caught. Shock, confusion, fear, perhaps disbelief that their meticulous planning failed. That is the divine principle at work. Those who plot in secret will be revealed. Those who hide will be exposed. Those who manipulate will encounter consequences beyond their foresight. God's justice is meticulous, precise, and unassailable. And in the exposure of the investigator, you witness the unfolding of that divine principle. Let me take this further. Consider the ripple effects. The investigator's capture sends a message to others. Every hidden threat against you, every potential adversary, witnesses the pattern of divine protection. This creates a spiritual perimeter. Not all threats can reach you. Not all challenges will succeed. Divine intervention is not limited to a single event. It is an ongoing shield, an ever-present force that guards the chosen. Those who see the investigator caught will hesitate, They will reconsider. They will realize that the chosen one is protected in ways beyond comprehension, and so your mission becomes clear. As one who is chosen, your responsibility is not only to recognize divine timing, but to honor it. Your responsibility is not only to walk forward in faith, but to inspire faith in others. Your responsibility is not only to witness justice, but to be a living testimony of it. The 2-hour warning, the court investigator, the divine intervention, these are not just for you, they are for all who are watching, listening, and learning that God's chosen ones are under sacre, due protection. Think about what this teaches us about vigilance. Life is full of observers, plotters, and investigators. But vigilance does not mean paranoia. Vigilance means awareness. It means being spiritually attuned, discerning, and ready to recognize signs of divine intervention. It means understanding that God works in layers, sometimes subtly, sometimes dramatically, always perfectly. Those 2 hours were a window into that divine orchestration, a window that allowed exposure, protection, and justice to unfold precisely as intended. There is also a lesson in gratitude. We often forget to thank God for what we do not see. The 2 hours, though invisible in the moment, were a blessing. The investigator's exposure, though delayed, was a gift. Every silent protection, every hidden revelation, every divine intervention is a reason to be grateful. Gratitude strengthens faith, reinforces trust, and aligns you with further protection. The chosen one walks not only with vigilance and courage, but with a heart of gratitude, recognizing that divine timing is a gift. And now let us reflect on destiny. The investigator was caught not just to prevent harm, but to safeguard your destiny. The chosen one's path is sacred, purposeful, and guided. Every plot against you is a test of the integrity of that path. Every hidden threat is a measure of your preparedness. And every intervention is a confirmation that your destiny cannot be derailed. God waited 2 hours not to delay, but to protect the trajectory of your life. He waited not to abandon, but to secure. He waited not in inaction, but in perfect calculation. The truth is simple. When you are chosen, you attract opposition. When you move toward destiny, you encounter challenges. When you advance in purpose, you face trials. And yet, divine timing ensures that those challenges, trials and opposition, are not fatal. They are nocturnal. They are part of the training, the awakening, and the preparation. The court investigator is a perfect example. What was meant for harm became a lesson, a revelation, and a proof of divine mastery. And now, consider the impact on your own spiritual power. The chosen one grows stronger through awareness of divine timing. The chosen one grows wiser through witnessing justice unfold. The chosen one grows resilient through patience, faith, and courage. The court investigator is a catalyst for spiritual growth, a tangible reminder that nothing hidden remains hidden, nothing plotted succeeds, and nothing designed to harm you can prevail against divine protection.